Hi, family. Welcome back to the Kingdom Council. We're going to talk tonight about how do people understand your walk, or how do you deal with people not understanding your walk, like your family, friends, maybe coworkers, anyone that you come into contact with. So today we are going to be answering a question from Ask the Council, and we have our council members here to weigh in on what are some tips, what's some advice, what is their experience in dealing with a situation like that. So I'll just open up the floor. How have you all, what have been your experiences, and what are some advice that you can give?
Well, first of all, I want to say it definitely is a journey dealing with friends and family not understanding your walk, because especially around this time of year, like they look at you like, oh, you're being anti. Like, why aren't you coming for Thanksgiving? Why aren't you trick or treating? Why aren't you celebrating Christmas? And it's like, bruh, these are like suspect satanic practices that I'm not taking part in. Like, all of this stuff comes from that. Like, Halloween originated, what was that, Samhain?
Yeah, Samhain and All Hallows Eve for dead saints and martyrs. Yeah.
Like rituals. Like I'm good on the rituals. So that's why I try to explain to them like the origins of where these things come from. But everyone has to make their own walk and take their own path. So that's honestly how I feel about that. But I mean, just look at what's on the screen though. Like these people are in the back doing these things, and it all ties back into these holidays of what we're talking about. Like,
and I think too, in these holidays,
it's not even in the back anymore, though. No,
it's not. It's blatant. Like,
yeah, it is blatant.
mm-hmm.
I think in these.
I mean, it's like it's a trend to do witchy stuff now, and it's a trend. Like I've seen, there's this teacher on YouTube. I guess they do the TikTok shorts and stuff on there too, but she literally explained what you guys just talked about, and a history of Halloween and All Hallows Eve, and back to the Greeks and the Romans and everything, and all of it. And it's like a cool thing to do now. It doesn't bother anybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think in these holidays, we have to really break down the words of these things. We kind of take these words for granted. So in these holy days, like I shouldn't be participating in any holy day that my father has not told me to participate in, especially if I'm going to be doing things. So going back to Halloween, because it is Halloween day today. Um, they used to throw kids and women and men back in pits and burn them to gods, and they used to have sex with everyone, letting people just take their wife, and you take someone's daughter and you just go, and it just is what it is. That's nothing that I would want to be participating in. Anything with child sexual abuse, with women's sexual abuse, with murder, that's nothing that I'm to participate in. And it does get hard when you have friends and family that just don't understand that, or they love to say this, that's not why I celebrate it. It's like, I don't care why you celebrate it. That's what it originated at.
right.
And so it definitely takes a level of patience. But sometimes you can feel a little outcasted too, because that's the kind of the culture and the energy that they put around it. Like, oh, well, they don't reach out unless it's those holidays, but it's kind of like, you don't have to just reach out to me on those holidays. We should have a relationship regardless,
And that's how you know that the world is working exactly the way it wants to, the way it was intended to, because now that all of this evil and satanic things are going on, and it's such the norm now that people can't even accept the fact that it is evil because they're having too much fun with it. And that's just, I mean, and for the most part, they're just having fun with evil, and they're making it seem like it's such a good thing. And they're finding the fun, they're finding the good in evil, and now it's just become this thing where, and social media altogether, and now this TikTok thing has just made it to the point where, they're creating copycats, and, everyone is just like, oh, I want to be a part of that. I want to do that. That looks fun. They made that seem fun. And women are being used to push these narratives, because now women are being the sexy version of evil. And so now men are like, oh yeah, that's sexy, that's hot, you know, and they're following that trend. And women, on the other hand, are following it because they want to be sexy. They want to be looked at as sexy. So they're like, oh, let me also be that evil sexy, you know. And so everybody's getting caught up in it one way or another.
My thing is too, like, don't say that you're not celebrating these things for those purposes when you're doing everything that the ritual entails.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't tell me that you don't care about Christmas and that doesn't mean anything, but you have a tree up. Like, and that's a representation of your people being lynched, literally. So I'm like,
Literally,
is that really worth it for the sake of family time? Like, you act like this is the only time that we can come together. It doesn't have to be because they said on this day we need to do this.
Yeah. And that's actually
always, oh, we have time off. That's why we can do it.
yes.
That's actually one of the things that when I met Vanessa, she and I first got together, that's one of the things that I used to speak with her about, was the fact that there were many times where the families would say, oh, you don't want to get together, you don't want to get together. And it was like, I understood where they came from because, like, you know, Vanessa just stated, that is one of the few times that they have time off, you know, in abundance, as opposed to just the 1 or 2 days during the week. So I get that part. But what they weren't understanding was, yeah, but what you're celebrating, I don't particularly celebrate. So it's like, how can we make that happen without you trying to enforce your, you know, religion or your traditions on me while I'm able to stick to my spiritual being, my walk, you know? And so that was the dichotomy of it all, you know what I mean? And it was just like, now it comes down to, okay, if I'm there with you guys, I'm going to let you know this is why we shouldn't be celebrating.
We
here
did
for
like
the family.
twice, maybe.
Yeah.
That I think once was Thanksgiving, and it was okay. I mean, but you know, he was uncomfortable, and me as his woman, you know, I'm gonna support him in what he decides to do. So I stopped going. Granted, you know, sometimes it's hard because I was raised in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's when I know families to get together. But I've always had questions even since I was little. Why are we doing this? What's Santa? Like all of this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
where does this come from? Why is there an Easter bunny? What does that have to do with Jesus? You know?
Yeah.
And nobody could ever tell me. And my grandparents, they didn't celebrate none of that. None of it. So I knew it from them, and that's where my questions came from. And my grandpa would tell me, like, we're not supposed to do that. And he's, you know, Christian, so to speak, or he was. And so, you know, even with the church, he went away from that as well. But that's where all my questions stemmed from. And then when I met Jamel, of course, you know, you want to make your partner happy, but at the same time, it's more than just that. It's, you know, you respect each other and you learn off of each other and whatnot. And that's what really pulled me more towards it. And like today, my mom's like, are y'all going to go trick-or-treating? I'm like, no. And like for her, she had a party yesterday and she wanted, he was like inching us forward to get us like to go. And so she was like, oh, well, help me with this and help me with that and help me with this decoration. And I helped her. I'm like, we're not trick-or-treating. We're not dressing up. Like, we're not going to do it. And she kept baiting my babies. She was like, well, we're going to do this. Y'all don't want to be a part of it? We're going to do this. And it's just, it's crazy to me that
and
without
question, some of them will try peer pressure, you know, like
that. Exactly.
How are you going to not let your kids be a part of this? Or
exactly. And that's the biggest struggle.
Yeah.
That's the biggest struggle of it all, because the boys, they see their friends that they do this and they do that or whatever it may be. But, you know, I told the boys, question everything. Just do it. Question everything. Ask why they do this. Why does their family do this and this and that? And they're like, but they're going to say this and that. Oh, well, like it sucks because you want your kids not to feel left out, but at the same time, you want them to know and be independent in this. So it's like it's a struggle. Like it really is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even at school, I remember when my sister was in elementary school and they would have these little, holiday parties and Halloween parties. And she and this other girl, the other little girl was a Seventh-day Adventist, and they don't do those holidays either. They would have to go into another classroom alone and have their own little thing. But it's like you feel singled out, but you have to stand on what's right.
Yeah.
But that's
And
by design as
tough,
well.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, being set apart. I mean, there's no
Mhm.
reason why all of these holidays, because that's what they are, holidays. It's no reason why churches are promoting them.
Facts.
Why is the church putting on?
Exactly. And that was my biggest thing.
Why is the church having a Thanksgiving potluck? Why is the church having Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Why is the
Absolutely.
church why is the church serving pork at breakfast and in the cafeterias? And it was like things like that, like you said.
With the
I
Catholic
would
Church,
see it. I'm
that's
like, why
always a
you
question.
got sausage and bacon? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't make any sense. You know what I mean? It didn't make sense. So stuff like that is always, mind boggling because, like you said, we see it, but everybody else don't pick up on it, and it's just odd that it's little things like that people aren't questioning the church about. They're not even like, hey, what's going on with this, pastor? I see this, what you got up in the cafeteria? Why you got that up in there?
Right.
And make them answer to that. They're not doing that. You know what I mean? So, it's just one of those things that, again, they've got it to where, like you said in the Bible, like good is bad and bad is good. Like now everybody is looking at it like, oh man, it's just for fun. It's just
the
dress up.
Catholic Pope I don't remember how long ago, declared that being gay is okay as far as, through God.
Yeah, I think I did hear about that.
Yeah, the same-sex marriage thing.
No, just being gay in general, trans, all of that.
That's my thing. This is someone that the world looks at as like pretty much the highest spiritual leader. And he's okay with abominations.
That's
his title, Vicar of God, literally means a substitute for God. Like, it's ridiculous. This is who's supposed to be our stand-in, like making these kinds of decisions. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
This is why we should focus again on the laws and principles. And so even with how do we deal with our family and friends not understanding our walk? I think it's more so because they're not going to understand because we had to go through this journey by ourselves. We were chosen to go through it and everyone wasn't. And so we have to be a little gracious to their code because it's kind of like not understanding. So, I mean, you can take them back to the origins. You can, it's better to show them than to tell them.
Yeah.
I've seen like, and even coming at it with a different heart. Because I found myself when they would come at me of why aren't you doing this and why aren't you doing that? I would be immediately defensive versus just going in love and being like, oh, let me show you why I don't really want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you this video of these Greeks eating kids and putting them in the barbecue and putting them in hanging their ancestors on trees and like putting lights around them. And, that's kind of why I don't want to celebrate. It's a big part. Not only is that the history behind it, but also my God is telling me not to walk in their ordinances. And these are the things that they have ordained, just like Vanessa was saying. We have Christmas off and we have, they give Columbus Day off.
I don't think so.
It's on a Monday, I think.
Yeah, I think you do
get it off.
You get the Friday and the Monday prior to
no,
and
not
after
for Columbus
something
Day.
like
I think
that.
you just get I think schools only get it off. I mean, at least here in Texas.
Yeah.
And the grocery stores are promoting this, and it's that culture and shift. So I think we have to be a little gracious to our people that were not chosen to walk in the same journeys as us, and try to more so show them with data, because data really speaks for itself. I've stopped really arguing with people. I'd rather show you and let's read it together. I want you to read it. What does that say?
Yeah,
when you have people read it, it's like,
well, but then it comes with the excuse, that's not why we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the main excuse. We're doing it to get together for family.
Yeah. I'm like, you can't.
And that's what
you can do it without all these decorations, without all this stuff. Like,
before my mother's passing, she and I, when I first transitioned to the truth, and I was raised in a Christian home, and she was not with it. The first thing that came out of her mouth was, "You just don't want to spend no money on the babies for these holidays. You just don't want to," like, she was going off. And I was like, it has nothing to do with that. I was like, yo, the walk is like this. And I was trying to show her she wasn't having it. So fast forward to like right before her passing. And one of the conversations that we had that really, like lit me up was she was, it was just me and her at the house, and we were just talking, and she just came out the room and just was like, "Hey, so tell me a little bit more about, what, your walk." And so I just started talking to her about it. And she said, because lately I've been, looking into some of the stuff that, you've been sending me. And she's like, and, I just kind of want to talk more about it. And I think it helped because some friends of the family that I consider like an aunt and uncle, like we're really close, they're really good friends with my mom and dad, and they used to go talk to them all the time. Well, they end up telling my mom and dad that they were in the same walk that I was in. So my mom was like, "Oh, my son is doing something like that." So then, she called me in there and was like, "Hey, talk to them." And so we started talking. It's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what we on." And so now it was like her peer. It wasn't just her son telling her. So now her peer was like, "Yo, you should really check this out." And because they were like really good friends, like they used to get together all the time. Now my mom was more like, "Okay, well, let me check this out." So like I said, we fast forward to right before she passed, and we had probably about a good 2-3 hour conversation. And we were just talking about everything. And she told me the last thing she said was, "I won't promise you that, I'm just going to go all in," she said, "but I'm definitely going to take it more serious and look more into it." And, like I just kept praying on it, and I kept sending her and my pops like emails and like, links in their messenger and stuff, and just hoping like one day they'll see it. One day they'll see it. They'll get it. They'll get it. And sure enough, she did. So, when she passed, all I was thinking was hopefully she made enough amends with the Most High, and he saw her heart and seeing where she was coming, and was like, "You know what? I see, what I'm saying, did enough to make it." But it just felt good to see that she was coming around, and granted, this is my mother. So she's 20 years older than me. So, and she's stubborn. So all those years of her living in the way that she lived and being as stubborn as she was, I had to really knock it down. You know what I'm saying? So it felt good to see that she was accepting of it. It started to resonate with her.
That's like a good success story, because I always think about like when we try to talk to older generations, I always think about when our people were in the desert and the older generations couldn't make it because they just refused to listen. They refused to change. They had to die out, and the younger generations went in. We hope that that's not the case this time around, that everybody can, try to understand this and unlearn all of this indoctrination. And the longer you're here, the more, deep down it is in your psyche and your spirit. You got to dig all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it is really powerful to let your walk do the talking for you as well. So when these people, because they do come at you OD hard, even if they ain't the best, like more times than not, your family are Christians or from that some type of Abrahamic faith. So when you tell them that you're on this wave, it's like an immediate, attack. But what they notice is, because it'll be an immediate attack, they'll claim that they stand on this book, but they won't be doing, they won't be doing nothing that the book is saying. So it's like, it's just for play. It's very religious.
It's everybody claims it. Everybody claims it, but nobody actually lives it.
Exactly. So once they start seeing you, because I feel like this walk is very different. Once they start seeing you actually be, instead of just saying or acting, but you actually are, I feel like they're also more open to it too, because it's definitely a difference and a glow, and that Holy Spirit definitely dwells within you once you start being right. So in a way,
absolutely,
all that stuff, but you have to, and stand on the Spirit. You have to eat all, because they're going to come for you. They always do. It's honestly the Most High proving you.
Yeah.
For whoever asked this question, it's the Most High proving you to see what your spirit is going to really attach to. What do you want more? You want acceptance or you want the Spirit? And it does get hard, but He's never not led us through the fire, and we made it out. So
Oh, absolutely. And I like on that same token, my mom is, she's big on decor when it comes to the holidays and stuff like that. So she would go all out, what I'm saying? She would go all out. And, especially for Thanksgiving and stuff like that, like she'd have everybody over and stuff like, and she'd have everybody out, everything. And she'd, make all the good stuff, whatever. But I'd be upstairs in my room by myself. Like, yo, you guys be downstairs. I'm going to be up here by myself. And I'd just be praying and just be in my own zone. And she would bring me a plate and just slide it like, here you go, so you can have you something to eat. But I would just be fasting the whole night. And then I'd eat my plate the next day, whatever. And I just tell her like, but when she started seeing me do stuff like that, she knew I was standing firm on what I believed. And then she started to see my growth, as Jatea was saying, she seen my growth as an individual and as a father and things of that nature. So she knew like, okay, whatever it is he's standing on is for real, because he's, exactly. And so at that point, that's when she started to respect it more. Cause like I said in the beginning, she was still pushing it on me. But after she started to see how I changed and how I stood firm on it, she started to respect it. And at that point, it was like, you know what, hey, I know you don't partake in this, but I also, I made your favorites. So I'm gonna put a plate for you on the side. Here you go when you're ready. You know what I'm saying? And, the next day I'd have my grub, but it's like I had to just make sure I set myself apart from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's real.
Yeah, that's big.
I'm not looking forward
like
to getting the text to get a Christmas tree.
You said what?
I said I'm not looking forward to my mom finding ways to slip in a Christmas tree into our house.
How is
she does it every year. She'll say, well, can I just get one for the kids just so they can have one? Or what about one that you could put on the wall paper? It won't take up any room. Like she does it every year.
Like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with imagery of lynchings in my home.
But so she'll just
like,
I know it's coming. It's coming.
Y'all get y'all lynch tree yet?
I'm gonna text her back and be like, a lynch tree? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like
it's just really standing firm on what the Most High has told us and how He's leading us. And like Jamel said, they start to respect it because when they see that you're not wavering,
yes,
and even if you do fall, sometimes you get back up and you start back at it again. Nobody is doing stuff like that these days. So when you can really stand on the Most High, your journey is going to speak for you. And your journey is going to start letting your people and your family and your friends know. And you honestly may lose a lot of friends and family. And that's kind of just what it is. So be it. These are fleshly bodies anyway. Who is your spirit family?
Exactly.
Gather with those people because those are the ones that's going to have, those are your ride or dies for eternity.
No, for real.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does get hard because I've had family members say, oh, y'all are in a cult or,
that's the biggest thing I hear.
Yeah. Just
absolutely
crazy stuff. And like, or I'm not going to talk to you until you like come back to the church or whatever, like,
okay,
we're not speaking then.
Yeah, we're not speaking.
What you don't realize, you're asking me, am I in a cult? You're in a cult.
Yes,
exactly.
But by definition, because they're the majority, they can't be a cult, but you are anyway. Like the things that you do.
A cult. Like,
you know what's funny?
Absolutely.
Our parents always used to tell us, "Don't. If everyone else jump off a bridge, are you gonna jump too?" The day you decide to jump off the bridge, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, I'm saying they wondering why you didn't jump. You know what I'm saying? They sitting there drowning, looking up at you, mad because you breathing. Because you alive. You know what I'm saying? They like, wait, what the heck? But again, it's
like
so you're just mad because I jumped off of a different bridge that didn't have me drowning in the water.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I like what you, Jamel and Jatea, were saying about just not wavering in it. Because they do respect it when they see that you take it seriously. It's like, okay, you've never taken anything as seriously as this.
Exactly.
In your mind, we can't say anything to make you turn around and go back to the way it was. Like nothing to do is gonna make you change. Like, no, this is the Most High.
Yeah. Exactly. And honestly, Jatea, mentioned earlier, it's like that's the strongest thing you can do. It's just let your walk do the talk. Because at the end of the day, you could talk all day, but they're gonna go back and forth. They're gonna combat you on that. But if you just be at peace, and just live how you're supposed to live, and they're gonna see that, especially. And granted, it sucks it has to be this way, but especially when they see you reaping the rewards of walking in that spirit, then they start to believe it because they like, oh wow, he's walking in a different light and he's getting rewarded and his life is getting better. He's less stressed. He's, now, they start to see it. Like, exactly. They start to see it. And now they like, oh, okay, so tell me more about what you're doing. You know what I mean? And that's why, as Shatea stated earlier, like we have to walk it and just let them see it for themselves. And in the meantime, when they inquire about it, yeah, we could just point them to the direction, be like, yo, let's look at this together real quick. And then just ask them, like, what does this mean to you? Let me tell you what it means to me. Let me tell you what it is. And then we just go, now we have a dialogue. But that dialogue wouldn't even spark if they didn't see that walk.
Right.
I agree completely. I wish my family wasn't so matriarchal, because it's all ran by the women, all of it. So I guess they expected me to be the domineering one in mine and Jamel's relationship and like decide everything. But I've had to decide everything forever. He can deal with that.
He said,
"Here, take the reins. I'm done."
Yeah. But I'm happy that
that's the way it's supposed to be anyway.
It is. That's how the Most High set it up. But I'm happy that we have this council here to where we can discuss these things amongst each other. Because there are a lot of our brothers and sisters out there who feel alone, like they don't have anyone they can talk to, go to about any of this stuff. So I'm happy that we're able to provide that resource to them, that community, that family to them. Because it does get lonely on the path, but it's so warming to know that there are other people out there, like your brothers and sisters in the truth, who are rooting for you and encouraging you all the time.
Absolutely. And real quick, before we kind of end this, why don't everybody kind of go through and tell about like the moment that they, I guess you want to call it, transition into the truth?
Next question. Okay.
That's good.
Okay, I'll start it off.
Right.
So for me, it was a friend of mine that I've been knowing since I was about 13. And I was actually friends with his older brother first. And his older brother is 2 years older than me. We went to the same school. And one day I went to go visit his brother. His brother wasn't there, but the younger brother was. And the younger brother, mind you, is only, I believe, 2 years younger than me. And so I just went in the house and was like, I'll wait for him. From that day on, me and the younger brother became best friends. And he and I did everything together, basketball, music, everything. But his older brother was already into the truth at that time. We weren't there yet, mentally we weren't there yet. And so his brother was always trying to drop jewels on us. And his brother was growing out his dreads and just being like, just having all this, his garb and everything was changing up. And we was just looking at him like, yo, your brother weird, bro. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's up with this, And so many years later, his brother really hit us. Like, I think, the Most High was like, okay, we're ready to receive it. And so his brother just started hitting us with stuff, and we was taking it in, and we was like, wow, this makes sense. And, it's like, okay, now we starting to get these answers that we're looking for. So, and the crazy part about it is I was in the process of getting back into church because I had been out for so long. And I was like, yo, I need to get back my footing because I feel myself just way out of it. Well, I'm going back to church with my mom and dad, but in the same token, I'm learning about this truth from my boy. And so now I'm like fighting it because one week I'm going to church, a couple days later, I'm with my boy and we in class. And I'm like, wait, this don't go along with what I just learned though. Like this ain't, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hold up. And then pretty soon, like I said, I told you guys a story before about the fake tongue, speaking in tongue and all that. And that was like my very last time. At that point, I was like, okay, y'all full of it, I'm out. And at that point, I just completely cut it off. move forward into the truth, and just been going headstrong ever since. So it's been a good, I'll say about 10, 11 years for me.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
I'll go next. So I was actually 8 years old when my family, we were attending a Methodist church. We both of my mom and dad come from like religious background, a lot of preachers, deacons, all that stuff, Masons even. And they decided one day, like, you know, this doesn't feel like the right way to get to God. And my aunt, my dad's sister, was already aware that she was Hebrew Israelite, wore the white garbs, the white diadem, all that stuff, and she started giving them books. And my parents just started reading them, and it was like, okay, this is our last year in church. This is our last year. It was literally like cold turkey, like we're done.
That's how it is.
Yeah, it's like that, you know. And so for me, it's been like, I guess 27 years like living like that. But I still remember going to church. I still, you know, I actually ended up, that made me really interested in comparative religious studies. When I went to school, I got a degree in that, and one of my degrees is in comparative religious studies. And, you know, just wanted to see how other people, you know, are spiritual, how they look at things. And I know that this is it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
After looking at all the other stuff, like, y'all on it.
I'll go next. My story is a bit different. I will say I was in a very rough time of my life where I felt like the Most High was like, I was living such a wicked and sinful life. Even though I grew up in church, I knew where I was supposed to be and how to act in the laws and stuff. But I was doing what I wanted to do. I was in college. I finally got my freedom. So I was like, let's turn up. But the Most High started to humble me. And he started to, I always say, I feel like he almost snuffed out my light, but he has so much grace and mercy that he didn't. And I was in a really dark place. And so I just started going back to church because at a point I had learned about sun worship and all that and how it pertained to the New Testament story. And so I was just kind of like, this is all fake. None of this is real. Prayer doesn't work. That was my mentality. And the Most High was like, yeah, so he took me through it. And so I had to crawl back to him. And so I started going back to church with Deja, and just like trying to read things for myself and get understanding for myself. So I started to read the Bible. I was doing devotionals every day. I was trying to finish the Bible from cover to cover. And make it a yearly thing. So once I finished, I'm reading it again. I need to gain more understanding. I was also smoking a lot of weed because I was depressed. So with that, I was learning so much stuff, not just about the Most High and his word, but also just about how this world works. And I started coming into it in the kind of 2020 awakening for a lot of people. And so I was just like, oh, this is warped. Like this whole world is doomed. So then the Most High just started dropping more videos like Hebrew Israelite. I'm like, this looks interesting. I'm clicking on it, watching. I'm like, why does this make sense? Why does this align with history? Why does this, you know? So I'm doing so much research, and I just got to a point where I was like, wow, this world sucks. I'm glad I found my identity and my heritage. And then I started going out on social media, trying to share with everyone. You know how that goes. It doesn't go well. It doesn't go well at all. So got a lot of backlash from it, started to tone down my voice and just learn humbly. And here I am. And ever since I've started walking in obedience, the Most High has been refining me and blessing my life in abundance. And every day is a journey. Honestly, I can finally say that I have joy and I have love and peace, and I don't really even have pain. So
let me interject real quick on something you just said about just kind of like going hard once you learn. Like that's as crazy as it is. That's like a great time because you finally the light bulb comes on and you're finally like, yo, let me share this with everybody. You know what I'm saying? So you trying to hit everybody. You're like, yo, my man, check this out. You've been doing the whole wrong the whole time. Let me tell you. You know what I mean? And everybody's like, bro, you tripping. You tripping, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
exactly.
saying? And you like, nah, you don't get it. You know what I mean? And so now you look silly. And like you said, people are rejecting it because you're going so hard, but it's all in love though. You just trying to share that, like, yo, I just came into some gold, bro. I'm trying to let you get some. And they just
when
not
something makes you
receive
feel
it.
good, you want to let people know.
Yeah,
Exactly. And
exactly.
something that I learned as I talked to other people, I was like, they may have taken it one way, but I know everyone that goes through the journey, we kind of all go through the same type of thing. So we all understand that during that process, it wasn't out of hate, even though it may not have been communicated the best because it was so full of emotion sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was really all out of love and trying to bring our people back to God. And it was just like a code difference again. Like this journey was for you, it wasn't for them yet. If it was to be for them, so I agree with that. We all go through that.
Yeah.
That's such a funny time when you look back on it.
Now I can speak to like talking to people that didn't get it at first, and then they come back after they've tried. And it was like they're the same level of excitement. It's like, see,
Yeah.
you got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
You understand.
Yeah, but now you telling them, calm down, bro.
Right.
Bring it down.
Yeah.
Bring it down. So,
Yeah.
That's funny. Well,
That's the
my-
Most High, though. That's the beauty of the Most High.
Yeah, it is. And like it's like everyone has their own personalized journey, but everyone's kind of like it's similar. Like similar to Jatea, I kind of felt like I was just going through the motions. I grew up in church my whole life. I went to a Christian school my whole life. So Christianity, like pounded in me. Like, so it's like, okay, I get to an age where I'm making my own decisions. And I'm like, actually, I don't like doing this. No one's ever really told me why we need to do this. You just make me go to all these things. And I do it well. I have a great mask. Like I do it well. So I was pretty much just playing the part. But once I got to school, I was like, I'm not going to church. Are you crazy? And I didn't have my car. I got to catch the van. Oh, I'm definitely not going. No van. So I stopped going. And then once I got my car, I started going back little by little. But I was still like, I don't know. And I just felt really lukewarm about it. And I didn't really understand why I was doing it. And if anyone had ever asked me, like my greatest fear was someone asking me why I believe what I believe, because I didn't know. And I was just doing it. And so I got to a point where I was like, that's actually really bad. If this is my belief, I should be able to stand firm in that and explain to anyone who's asking me. And I couldn't do that. And so that bothered me. So I started asking the Most High. I was like, listen, I just want to know the truth. Like for some reason, this is not resonating with my spirit. I try it. I go. I'm back regular with it now. This was senior year of college at this point. I'm back regular with it now. Like I got Taya coming with me. Like we going on the little trips. Like it's cool, but it's like still like I don't know. So I just I became more diligent in learning more and being serious about it. And he saw that and was like, okay, if you being for real, I'll show you everything. But if you're being for real about it, and so just being on YouTube. This was during the pandemic. Our last year of college. School is online, so once you finish your work, ain't nothing left to do
but smoke weed
and watch videos. So that's what we was doing. We was on YouTube, like we would watch like Satanism videos, Luciferian videos, just trying to understand it. It's like these people really worship the devil for real. And then I started realizing, wait a minute, I worship the devil too. Right? Oh my God!
Tricky.
Are you serious? Like we've been worshiping Satan our whole lives, and the world runs by Satan, and everything is satanic. And I didn't know that till now.
I hate to interject here, but I wish y'all could have been in here the day we found out that we were worshiping and praying to Satan. When I tell you, we started throwing everything away. It was so the spirit in here was so
like, oh, that's a graven image. It's gotta go.
Yeah, we were like, oh hell no.
And really had to humble ourselves and ask for forgiveness, because it's like you don't know what you don't know. But it's like still that was disrespectful to the Most High. So he created me, and I'm praying to an idol. Oh my gosh, like this is really OD. And so just coming to that realization and learning more and more, like she said, I'm on the videos, the articles, any type of information I can find. I'm posting it. I'm telling people, y'all got to stop what y'all doing. The time is, it's the end days. Y'all better hurry up. Like all this stuff. And everyone's like, this girl is crazy. Like, what happened to her? Who's the followers? I'm like, dang, everyone hates me. Like, but I'm not coming to holidays. Like everyone's like, bro, what's wrong with her? She's brainwashed. But no, like it was the Most High. And now looking back at it almost over a year later, it's just so empowering to know that I'm finally walking in my truth. I understand what I believe. I understand the truth. I understand what I know. I'm able to talk to anybody about it. Not worried about what they're going to say because I know it's the truth, and really just standing firm on the Most High. So that's really what it was for me. And it did help that we kind of went through it at like the same time.
It did.
Like, so.
Because I would not have been on any of those videos by myself. Not smoking weed, watching Luciferianism. No, that wouldn't have been me. I don't do the scaries. So it was good to have, like, not only a friend, but like my best friend be able to go through, and us just, we have a very open relationship. So we have like, we can talk about whatever. And so it was good to just be able to get real thoughts and like, just have real conversation about what we were watching. What do you think this is? Making theories, checking on them, you know, and doing that with someone. So the spiritual partner and aid was definitely another blessing within.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
That I definitely agree with, having someone to go through it, especially if you're new to it all. I guess I grew up, you know, Christian, apostolic from my grandparents. I mean, my great grandfather had his own church. He was a pastor. He was, from my understanding, he died when I was maybe like around 8 or 7, but I did know him. But from what I remember and from what I was told, he was faithful and loyal to his flock. I mean, he, being with that, was closer to the truth now than when I was older and my mom sent me to CCD classes, a Catholic church, and this and that. Because if you weren't at church, from what everyone tells me about him, he would go to your house and see what's up, what's wrong, what he can do. And he was blind, and he would walk to your house. And so, you know, I grew up with that image that, okay, that's what it's supposed to be. And then here, my grandparents moved to the States before I was born, I think. When my dad was young, they kind of got away from that. And they moved here where I'm at. And then my parents actually met in church, an apostolic church. And then I don't know what happened to my parents, but, you know, they did their thing. They separated or whatever. And my mom's side of the family, back to Catholicism all the way, even though all of them were growing up in the same church that my dad was at. And so it was kind of a split thing for me. I always had questions because I was taught this, but on my mom's side, they claimed Catholicism, but they never went to church. And so it was really strange for me. But what had me walk away from religion altogether was seeing my grandpa struggle when my grandma got in a really bad accident and the church didn't help him at all. And he walked away, so I walked away. And I was maybe like 12, 14, around that age, when, you know, I just completely walked away when he walked away. And then, of course, you believe in a God. You believe that there's something there. You can't believe there's good without the bad. So I didn't go to church, but I had that. And then I tried to go back after I had my boys. I just couldn't find something that fit. And then I got with Jamel. And he started talking to me about this and talking to me about that. And he knows it was hard for me because I was brought in tradition, Christmas and this and that. But I think when we went to Thanksgiving with my family that one time and seeing how people were still being petty and fake around each other, even though it was supposed to be for family, I think that for me was the turning point where I was like, all right, like, I think that's the last time that we went somewhere together like that. But that was for me what it was. And then since, it's a struggle, but of course, nothing's easy when you're trying something completely new to what you've been taught, you know? So to this day, it's hard, but it's easy if you have somebody, you know?
And that's why I was so like, I guess, enamored when my mom started to come around, because again, you know, she has all these years on earth being as stubborn as she is and headstrong about what she believes and how she lives and stuff like that. So to see that, you know, the Most High was helping to bring her around, you know, that lit me up. You know, I was like, man, he's really working, because if anybody get through to her, they strong, you know, because she's stubborn, you know. But I get that. That's where I get that from, though. You know, I get it from her, and so you know, I was just happy to see that happening, and you know, so I think that's why I wanted to hear everybody's story, because I wanted to see what everybody's, you know, what their battle was, what their, you know, and what they went through to leave what they were used to something new, you know. And so, you know, that's the hardest thing. And I think the viewers will also want to know that, because obviously they're going through the same thing, trying to, how do I make that transition? How, you know, and what am I going to expect? Or, you know, what am I going to experience in the process of doing so? And like Jatea and Deja both alluded to earlier, you're going to lose people along the way, but you're supposed to, you're supposed to, because that's how you're set apart. You know, if you don't ever lose anybody, then you're not fully set apart. You're not fully invested in what you're doing.
He's just pulling away what you don't need.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you're going to lose some people on the way, and the ones that you keep around are either a part of that walk with you, or they at least respect your walk enough to say, hey, you know what, do you, I'm with you, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, but if you don't lose anybody, then you haven't changed. You know, there's nothing about you that's changed. Therefore, that's why you still got the same flock around you, you know?
That's real.
So, I mean, you know, I think that's something that, you know, they should be, kind of weary of as well. It's like, hey, if you don't see nobody, you know, leaving your presence, then you probably have to check yourself, because maybe you haven't changed, you know. You got that same company.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
different
good
for everybody, as we just showed. Like, you know, some people come from no religion, some people come from just straight religion. And the difference is, it's not religion, it's just what it is, the truth, you know?
It's who you are. Yeah, it's who you are. It's your identity. It's your heritage. It's your nationality. Like, it's none of the religious stuff. That's the thing. Like, that we've been so institutionalized. That a lot of our people, especially the elders, they can't see past it. They think their only way to get God is through a church, through religion. It's like, no, it's your relationship with your creator, literally, and listening to what he says and meaning it. So I think this was good. I think whoever asked this question, I pray that you really got some insight and some gems from this, because like Vanessa said, we all have very different scenarios of this walk and how we came into it and where we are in our journey. But at the end of the day, the Most High brought us all together to discuss it and to continue growing together. So I'm really grateful for that.
Likewise.
All right. Well, to close it up, I would like to say this was our first episode of our second season back on Kingdom Council. For anybody watching, listening, visit our website. If you have questions that you want addressed, that you want us to discuss on here, submit it. We'll answer it in the magazine, do a podcast episode, and make sure that, you know, remind yourself that you have family here, that you have community that you can trust and come to with any issues that you may have.
True.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is good. So until next time.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.